Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. Happy Wednesday. It's
Yes.
Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Okay. I had a brief moment where I thought it was Thursday. Happy Wednesday, which we're closer to Thursday than we are to the beginning of Wednesday, so we'll go with it that way. But welcome to our 2025 Arab American Heritage Month presentation. And this is the first time I think as an institution where Arab American Month has been acknowledged and an opportunity to really, I think, throughout this year, expand all of the Heritage Month activities to be able to bridge our campuses too and bring the connection with the vast amount of knowledge and resources that are on the main campus up to our health professions campus and build that sense of community. So we're grateful for you all to be here to participate in that and thankful for our presenters to be able to share their time and energy with us today. So we're excited today in particular to share a space with Heather Sweetser and Abdullah Serag, who are here from the UNM Foreign Languages and Literatures Department. And just a little bit about each of them. I know this is like the time when everyone's like, I don't want anybody to tell anybody about who I am. But I think it's really important to share who people are. So the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages 2022 National Language Teacher of the Year, Heather Sweetser, received her MA in Arabic at Ohio State in 2012. Originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, she joined the Army in 1998 and learned Arabic at the Defense Language Institute, becoming an Arabic interpreter. Experiences with languages in the US government inspired her to become a language instructor, focusing on intercultural competence as a core part of language fluency. Heather teaches beginning through advanced Arabic at the University of New Mexico and is one of the co-creators of the WeCanLearnArabic.com website headed by Dr. Emma Trentman. And then also it's an opportunity to introduce Abdullah. Originally from Yemen, Abdullah Serag has been teaching Arabic to non-native speakers for more than 20 years. He graduated from Sana'a University in 2008 with an MA in the methods of teaching Arabic and authored a textbook on the Yemeni dialect. He currently teaches Arabic at UNM and Albuquerque Academy and is also one of the co-creators of the WeCanLearnArabic.com website headed by Dr. Emma Trentman as well. So I'm going to turn it over, but before I do, Sana'a University, I want to make sure I get that correct.
Yes, Sana'a. Yeah.
Sana'a
You
University,
said
got it. Wonderful. I also noticed that I'm sort of freezing a little bit, so I'm going to turn my video off for a second, but turn it over to you all. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind introduction. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a PowerPoint here because I was deliberately trying not to show everybody my desktop. Don't look at that part. Okay, so in any case, yeah, we thank everybody for coming here today. This is going to be a little bit interactive at this first start here, the first part. So if you wanted to type in chat, that would be great. I've got some questions. The first question is, when we talk about Arab Americans, a lot of people have this idea of Arabs or where they come from. So my first question is, where is the Middle East? So if you want to put in chat a country that you think is in the Middle East. Don't be shy. Yeah, Iraq is one I see. Jordan, Iran, Lebanon. Great. United Arab Emirates. A lot of people say Dubai, not realizing it's a city instead of a country. Jordan, Afghanistan. Yeah, there's I'll let everybody know right now, there is no consensus anywhere on where the Middle East is. Not even in the United States government. That's where I learned Arabic. And so you've got this term MENA, which means Middle East, North Africa. It kind of is a trick question. Every once in a while, some people say Brazil or something, and that for sure is not in the Middle East. But there's a lot of countries. It really depends on your definition. So I've got some maps here. This is one that I pulled off Britannica, and we've got Middle East being here, Libya and Sudan. And usually when people talk about the Middle East, the Arabian Peninsula is a part of it. But Turkey, maybe, maybe not. Here we've got Afghanistan. Some people consider it Middle Eastern, some people don't. No Pakistan, by the way, in this map. Here's another map, very similar, but now we've gained Sudan. This is a bit of an older map because Sudan has been two countries since 2012. But here we've also got like Azerbaijan and Georgia. It's kind of hard to see up here, Morocco, but not Western Sahara, which Morocco has claimed. There's also this one from the CIA World Factbook, which I think is interesting because now we've lost Egypt, no longer part of the Middle East. They put the Middle East right in the middle of Asia here with all the stands, including Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. When I have my own biases when I think of the Middle East because I tend to think of the Middle East as places specifically where Arabic is spoken or as an official language. And so we've got here Western Sahara to Iraq, but no Turkey, no Iran. There's also the Comoros Islands, which are way down south by Madagascar. Arabic is one of their official languages. But that's because I teach Arabic, so I tend to think of the Middle East as this area. And I just pulled these maps off the internet, by the way. I didn't spend too long thinking about them and not trying to say anything political here. There's also a link in the chat about 40 maps that explain the Middle East because we don't think of maps as being politicized, but they really, really are. So for instance, in this map, even though Arabic is an official language of Israel, Israel is not recognized in this particular map. So again, here's one. I think, again, maps are really, really important in the way that we visualize the world, but they're not often talked about in ways that are the politicalness of the map is emphasized and the political nature and the modern idea of the nation state and how do we overlap that into a world that didn't have such concepts. So anyways, I think that's a good place to start if you're interested in more stuff. Here's another question for you. Are Arabs Middle Eastern? We're here to talk about Arab American Heritage Month, so I opened up talking about the Middle East. You can put in chat, yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Any brave souls? Maybe. Depends, not sure. Individual? Yeah, sometimes. What about this question? Are Middle Easterners Arab? Some. I mean, it's we don't really know how to define the Middle East necessarily, but generally speaking, most people consider Arabs to be Middle Eastern. But not all Middle Easterners are Arabs. So for instance, people from Iran, Persians, or people from Afghanistan, Afghans, or so on and so forth. They consider themselves Middle Easterners, perhaps, but definitely not Arab. Or like people from Turkey who are desperately trying to be in the EU. You know, it gets a little complicated. So when we talk about Arab American Heritage Month, it's important to define what it means to be Arab or who self-identifies as Arab. I'm certainly not going to tell somebody like what happened in one of my classes, somebody is Tunisian and she said she's Arab, and then another person from Ghana said, no, you're African, and they had a fight about her identity. Whoever she identifies as is the important thing here, and I'm not going to tell somebody that they are or not Arab. But it's worth noting this because there is a lot of confusion, and I think politically sometimes too this happens a lot where you know, are Israelis Middle Eastern and these kinds of questions, or people get upset about Iran and conflate Iran and Iraq, and they have different histories and cultures and languages. So something to keep in mind. Here's another question. Which one of these people are Arab American? You can put this in the chat. Steve Jobs, Vince Vaughn, Paula Abdul, or Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader, people may or may not know. He was the old Green Party president. We got all of them. Anybody else want to add Steve Jobs? I like being more interactive when it comes to being online because it's easy when we're on a Zoom call to sort of, you know, our attention span kind of turns away. I'm guilty of this too. We've got Paula. Yeah, the answer is all of them. Yeah, so Steve Jobs, he's half Syrian, and Vince Vaughn, I believe, also half Levantine. Paula Abdul and Ralph Nader too. Yeah. It's like when I learned about this, I saw Paula Abdul. I'm like, oh, Abdul, of course, like she's Arab American. Point being is that I don't think we think of a lot of people as Arab American, but they might be. It's hard to know or self-identify. Or it's not easy to self-identify, but sometimes it's difficult to know it off the bat. And that's another question we have here too. How many Arab Americans are there? Does anybody know? You can take a wild guess if you want to.
I was going to say, I bet Kinder knows this because we have our tabling event, and it's usually one of the questions we ask people for the raffle. Oh.
Yeah, has anybody here, by the way, been to Dearborn, Michigan? It's an amazing place. So what did you like about it? Or what did you not like about it? I suppose I shouldn't ask that kind of leading question. What did you like about it? 3.7 million approximately Arab Americans. Dearborn is a very interesting place. The history behind Dearborn, Michigan, it's the only mosque in America, as far as like the last time I checked anyways, where the muezzin, the call to prayer, is allowed to be broadcast. And it's because it's such a high percentage of Muslims. And it's because Henry Ford, who believed in eugenics, which has been thoroughly debunked for the record, but for whatever reason, he believed that Yemenis were the most hardest working people on earth. And so he specifically went to Yemen to hire people to work in his factories. And every Yemeni there said, these are my 20 cousins. And the immigration was a little more lax at the time. So for every worker that came from Yemen, they brought 20 other Yemenis or other people too. And so to this day, there's a very high percentage of people in Dearborn, Michigan. I mean, we can estimate about 3.7 million, but the fact is that we don't actually know. And why is this? Because you may notice on the census form, we haven't had a census in 5 years though, but for almost any form you ask when people are asked about their race or ethnicity, you never or almost never see Arab American and why or Arab as an ethnicity. And so the reason for this is because people considered to be white have, or in the past have had higher immigration quotas. I'd like to specifically point out here that race is a social construct. And so, but this immigration laws that we've had in the United States often are predicated upon race. And so you had somebody who really championed the idea that Arabs are in fact white, and therefore more people can immigrate from these countries to the United States. And so Arabs from the Levant since 1915 were considered white by, again, American social contract standards. The Levant, by the way, is the area that encompasses Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine/Israel. So from this area, this is the Levant. And then from 1944, all Arabs are considered white, again, by US government standards. So, and this has, again, to do with immigration quotas and people championing this idea so that more people can emigrate from these countries. Now, this has changed, of course, with immigration laws and that kind of thing, but as with everything else in the government, it takes a while to catch up. So this is why like this data hasn't really been tracked properly, and why a lot of times Arab Americans have a very difficult time getting minority status. And when they go to court of law to prove that they were discriminated against because they're considered white in the past, it's been difficult to win these cases, for the record. So by the way, this is again why Arab is not a box to check on most forms. So for me, anyways, you might be wondering why I'm even here talking. Yes, I do. I teach Arabic, but that does not make me, in fact, Arab. I learned Arabic in the military. That's me on the right here in this picture. I joined the military in 1998. It was a very different world. This was pre 9/11. I joined just to learn a language, and they gave me Arabic. And it was a very interesting time because in the 90s, this was post Gulf War I, and this was during Operation Desert Fox, which everybody's forgotten about when we bombed Iraq a lot. And that was in 98. And then, of course, 9/11 happened. And then, of course, the war in Iraq and the second Gulf War happened. And what we were taught in the military is the language and not in any way the culture. We were pretty much taught to demoralize Arabs. We were allowed to call them towel heads and these kinds of things. In other words, things I won't say here. And there was a deliberate reason for this. We were being trained not to uphold peace, but to kill. That's what the military did in the 90s. I think it's different today. But this was my experience. And I always had the feeling that I was sort of being lied to and that I wasn't really being told the full story. Because part of the problem is that the military wants you to pass a test, and the test is language-based only. And there is no cultural consideration. There is no discussion of religion or what that means to different people in the region or anything of this nature. And so this made it very, very difficult then when we did go overseas to communicate with anybody, because you can't just say hello. It's so much more than that. Who do you say hello to? How do you introduce yourself? Can you eat in front of somebody during Ramadan? What is Ramadan? All of these things that came together. None of us were taught this. And it's also worth noting, by the way, that Arabic is blessed with a number of dialects, so that from people from Morocco and their dialect cannot understand people in Iraq and their dialect. They're mutually unintelligible. So it makes it very difficult. Then there's another layer of miscommunication that happens with dialects. Most people don't teach dialects. They only teach modern standard Arabic. And so, which is a language that nobody speaks. It's only written, similar to sort of Latin and Italian, I think. And this makes it difficult, I think, also to find good Arab interpreters or Arabic interpreters because you have to have a wealth of dialects at your disposal. So just some numbers about all of this, by the way. There are about 1.3 to 1.9 billion Muslims in the world. It's hard to get good statistics. I found a range depending on what source you use. And there's about 400 million Muslims who consider themselves to be Arab. Again, this is also a hard statistic to come by because of the lack of data tracking about who and who is not an Arab. But you can see there's far more millions of Muslims in the world than there are Arabs. And also 20 million Arabs are Christians. So I lived in Syria for a while, and there's a lot of churches in Syria. And people I knew were very surprised about that. They're like, really, there's churches? And I said, well, Jesus is actually from this area, so it would make sense there's Christians here too, more so than perhaps even in Italy. And also about 7 million Arabs are Jewish. And so there's a huge diaspora of Jewish populations throughout the Middle East that had lived in different regions like Yemen and Iran since time immemorial. But things are a little bit different now. But I think there's this idea that it's like Arab versus Jew, but this can't really be the case because of so many people who are Arabs who are also of other faiths, not just Islam. It's only, I think, politics that make us see the world in such a way. So I'm going to stop sharing here because I've talked enough already, I think, because this is Arab American History Month and our Heritage Month. And it's better to actually hear from an Arab who's lived in the United States here. So I'm going to ask Abdullah some questions here. And then towards the end, we'll have it. People can ask questions if they want to as well. So Abdullah, how are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I was born in north of Yemen, like close to Saudi Arabia, and then I moved to Sana'a. I finished my high school and college and master in Sana'a, and I grew up in the capital in Sana'a. But I still like visit like in the summer. Always I go to see my families there.
You think you'll go this year? It's not easy to get in and out of Yemen, I bet, and people are being stopped at the border now.
Of course, not this year. I'm gonna have a problem there, and problem maybe when I come back to America.
Hmm. Do you have a U.S. passport, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, yeah. I came to America 13 years ago in 2012, and then yeah, I became a citizen in 2017, like 6 years ago or seven maybe.
That's great because there is a ban on Yemeni people now in some other countries becoming citizens or even getting visas to the U.S. So I'm happy you're here.
Yeah, I went to Yemen last year, but it was I had a lot of problem there because now I am American, I am in America. Maybe it's not, they don't like trust me. And when I come in America, they stop me in airport like 3 hours, like stop, ask me if anyone of my families in armies, or I tell them, guys, I am a lecturer at University of New Mexico. I am not nothing.
It's probably going to be worse this year. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but that's my solution to everything. If I get shot at, I giggle. It's just a normal. I found out recently it's actually a very normal human response, and when you get put into dangerous situations, is laughter. For the record. Anyways, so you came to the U.S. in 2012. What was your first impression of the United States?
Actually, when I came to United States, it was I think like when like Arabic, or like I am like from Yemen and I moved to Egypt. I have like some family in Egypt, and then we think all American is high level like education. They know everything. They asked me where I am from. I said I am from Yemen. They said, where is Yemen? Some people think Yemen is in Mexico, or nobody, like almost 90% of people, like they know Yemen because the war in Yemen, but before nobody know. It was shocked because in Arabic country we have to study geography every year at school, like from like grade 4 to high school. Every like year you have a geography. You have to know all countries, capitals, like politics, economy, every like country, but they don't know where I'm from. Another stuff, like I remember when I came, first time I come to Ohio, and then for like a little bit, then Minnesota, Oregon. And I remember my wife, she said, oh, she has a friend. She said, you can go, American. My wife, she is American, asked me, you can go to your friend. Her friend take me outside because I don't have any friend. They take me to the bar, and then all people just ask me uh, if I like Osama bin Laden, or if I am. They ask me, what do you think about Al Qaeda? Do you like Al Qaeda, or do you know Osama bin Laden? Or I said, no. Come on, don't ask me that question. And other thing it was because people think Arab people hate America, and that's not true. People love America. I don't know why they think. I said nobody hate America. Maybe I know some people hate like maybe the war in Iraq or war, but not hate America. They love America. That is one stuff. Like I have a lot of experience. I can't talk to tomorrow, but okay.
I think one of the differences that I've noticed, just as being an American, is that here in the United States we cannot separate people from politics. It is your identity, and it's become more so as time has gone on. So people who, if especially like when we were in the war in Iraq, there's this idea that no Iraqis wanted us there, and some people really welcomed us coming in, and some people did want Saddam gone. But because we cannot separate people from politics, we put everybody together. People in the Middle East tend to have a better understanding that just because your president is doing this doesn't mean it's a reflection upon you. And I think people had more of an understanding like that in the United States as well.
And yeah, one thing else, because when I come back to Yemen last year, people ask me, "Oh, how's the people working with you? Like how much, like Democratic or Republican?" I said, "I don't know. We don't ask in America. We don't talk about religion or politics." They laugh at me and they said, "Then what you talk about?" I say, "I don't know. Maybe weather or something simple." You know what? We don't talk. Because in our culture, you can talk, but respectfully. I talk with somebody with other parts, with other religion, but it's okay. Always we talk about like politics and religion. Like you don't do that here because you're gonna fight, or maybe we're gonna have some problem.
Yeah, we hide behind screens. We talk about it online, but seldom at work, I think. Um, so a lot of people here are from the healthcare here at UNM. Can you tell us about your experience with healthcare in the United States as opposed to your home country?
This is the other surprise and shock. And when I come, I have a bad experience. After 2 weeks, I come to Ohio. After 2 weeks, my brother-in-law, he's American. They invite me to his wedding in California. And then I was very sick. I don't have insurance in that time, like health insurance. And I had كيف أقول زايدة دودية?
Oh, appendix.
Yes, and they take me to hospital in Sunday, and then they just take my passport, the stuff, and then they make the surgery. It was very bad. I stay in the hospital like 3 days, and then I go home, and then they sent me a bill with 90 something $1,000.
Over $90,000 for
Yes,
appendicitis.
yes, that was like very crazy. No one believed me, and that is like in our country you can't do it free. You know what I mean? We have like it's a different like hospital is almost free because we have a lot of hospital like a lot and it's free, or you can pay like a little bit money like $1, $2, like maybe in America. And if you are rich, we have like like a private hospital. Like if you want to pay a lot of money, they have like 5-star hospital, but everyone can go, and every doctor have to serve like a good doctor work in a he have a clinic or he have a private hospital. He have to work 4 hours every day in like for a public hospital to serve for poor people, like and then They have like, but it's very good, and that was like my problem here. But I like it here now in at UNM or in Albuquerque UNM. They have like they translate. They have a phone or like a machine. You know what I mean? They ask somebody like he can translate in Arabic very very good. Like what you if you have any problem.
Thank you. I was going to ask if you had, and it's fun to share. I shouldn't say fun, but sometimes it's more telling to share negative experiences. Did you have any positive experiences when you first came to the United States?
Yeah, this one I told you you have it's actually the health system here is not good. That's my idea. You know what I mean? Because it's not easy to see the doctor. I have to wait. Like last time, I calling. I need to see my doctor to see because I have high blood pressure. They give me like appointment like after 4 months. You know what I mean? Like, and this is like really crazy. In my home country, you can go wait 2 hours, 3 hours in Yemen, in Egypt, in any Arabic country, and you can meet a good doctor, like to see you. Here, you just have to, and like emergency in United States is like a regular in our home country. Here in emergency, you can wait for 2 hours, 1 hour. That
You're
is,
lucky, I guess. Have you lived in another country besides Yemen and the United States?
I live in Egypt too for 3 years.
Hmm.
It's like same system like in Yemen. And yeah, you can like yeah, I think and I travel to Europe like but not like no, I don't live in Europe, but they have like a good system, but they still have a problem, but you can see a doctor easily, you know what I mean? And they don't cost you nothing.
Hmm. Hopefully you didn't have a surgery, an emergency surgery in Europe or anything.
Now I pay a lot of money for my health insurance, but I still have to pay a money every time. If I go to the pharmacy, they said okay, pay like $50, $30. I said why? They said I don't know what going on.
So now that you've been here for a while in the US, over 10 years, what still surprises you about American culture?
It's like that what I told you. People, I think in a family here, like it's not like very close. You know what I mean? And friend too. I tried to make a friend here in America. It's very hard to have a friend. And okay, when you make friend, he just meet you in maybe every month, or you know what I mean. It's not easy to hang out with your friend a lot. Like when I am in my home country, I have to see my friend every day or every like 2 days. We have fun. We go to the coffee, have shisha or play games, like almost every day. That's family is very like close, very big family. Another thing here, if you believe, I heard about that, but I have a lot of neighbor. I don't know anyone, and I try to be nice to them, to talk to them, or sometime like give them some food or but they don't like to talk to anybody, you know what I mean? That is like everybody just say hi, hi, that is with a neighbor.
Yeah, I suppose. I haven't really gotten to know my neighbors, I'll admit it. Um,
But
I guess
at
mhm.
least now, sorry, now I can say I am from Yemen. I say I'm from Yemen. A lot of people know where is Yemen now because you know what happened now with the war in when America attacked Houthi in Yemen.
Mhm. Yeah, sorry about that, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Anyways, what's something you wish that Americans knew about Arab culture?
Say it again.
what is something you wish that Americans knew about Arab culture؟ يعني شيء تتمنى أن الأمريكيين يعرفوا عن الثقافة العربية.
I wanna like one thing they think a man make a woman wear al hijab. That's not true. Like I have like family in Yemen's like they like I ask like my sister, you don't need it when I go with my sister, because in Yemen we have a lot of al-hijab. In Egypt, like 50% or have al-hijab. Some people know. I said you don't need it. She don't want to take it off. You know what I mean? That is like a part of a culture. A woman they don't like now you can see women here come to America, and a lot of them get divorced. She live by herself, but she like to skip al-hijab. It's like that's not a man make a woman. It's like part of a culture. And they think like other people, they think, they ask me if we have internet or if we have a cars, or you know what I mean. I said, man, we have like a life same like here in America, but we have like maybe more happiness because a lot of like friend, big families. And other thing, yeah, people, I need like, I think America, they don't know like Arabic people love American, you know what I mean? They don't. Yeah. And other stuff uh, like we have a lot of religions, like not just a Muslim. You can find Christian, Coptic, and in a Muslim we have a lot of like kind like Shia, Sunnah. It's different.
Mhm. Do people worship differently from different countries? Did you notice a difference, for instance, in the way that Islam was practiced in Yemen as opposed to Egypt?
Yes, kind of like because a Yemeni like still like more كيف أقول محافظين.
Oh, more conservative.
Yes, Yemen and Saudi Arabia, but other countries is more open.
Hmm. Yeah, I can say anecdotally that for whatever reason, one thing that people love to talk about across cultures and times is what women are wearing. And so this was a big issue that my family had when I went to live in Syria. They were really worried that somebody would make me wear the hijab. Of all the things to be concerned about, there was some idea that, I would have to change what I wore or something like this. Without this understanding that it is for many people a personal choice at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
that's true because
And yeah, and so also too, I think it's hard to know how people are treated or respected in your home country until you leave it and go somewhere else. And I felt a lot of freedom that I had in Syria and other places, very, very safe as opposed to the United States because of the harassment that happens in the United States that we almost normalize and don't even realize what a part of our lives it is until we get out of that sort of bubble. Not to say
uh,
that harassment doesn't happen in the Middle East, of course, or in Arab countries. But
that,
that was a surprise to me on the other hand.
yes, thank you. The other thing is, I have a student now, like they have scholarship or they go finish studying Arabic in Jordan, in Oman, in Egypt, in any Arabic country, and a lot of them, they are scared. They think it's not safe. I told them it's 100% like more safe than Albuquerque. Like it's like I can't comparing between Albuquerque and Egypt or Jordan. Safe. A woman can walk at after like midnight. Nobody talk to her. Nothing happened. Nothing like have a knife or guns or you know what I mean. You don't found people like because we don't have a guns in like it's hard. Like it's safe. It's very safe. Nobody like yeah, it's safer. But the people think it's dangerous.
Yeah, I'll tell a story too. When I was living in Damascus, somebody tried to steal my purse and I started screaming. And I was with somebody else and we just looked at each other and started screaming. And then the guy ran off because I like fought him back. The whole neighborhood came out to see what happened. They were all apologetic. Some people gave me tea. Like the local neighborhood shisha bar always gave me free shisha because they were so horrified that that had happened in their neighborhood. And I think in my neighborhood here in Albuquerque, if I started screaming, nobody would come out. People are they don't want to get involved, I think. And there's not the same sense of ownership of a neighborhood or a community. And that was my experience anyways. So one last question that I have, and then I'd like to open it up to Q&A. What is something you wish that the healthcare system in the United States knew about Arabs and Arab culture?
I have to be easy to have like insurance for everybody. Maybe they can take some like I don't know, like Europe, like make it like more like taxes and You can work everywhere. I have a friend, they work like in gas station, in a restaurant, because a lot of Arabic here in Albuquerque, they just have a business, gas station, restaurant, smoke shops, small thing like that. They have a lot of problem with health insurance, and it's like other people they don't know how to apply to that. You know what I mean? And is I hope everybody like the system can be easiest. I don't know now if they still have Obamacare or a lot.
Mhm.
But if it's like Arabic country, easy to go to see, make it cheaper. Like if he don't have like a people, they don't have health insurance. So not have to be like my bills like $90,000 for a surgery. Like this is
Mhm.
like crazy. You know what I mean? I think that's impossible. Like you can do it in any Arabic like country, like for a private hospital, like maybe the best thing like $1,000, $900, like that's
Mhm. So maybe understanding too when people get upset about the bill that they're coming from a different system. So it does seem impossible to be given such a high bill. Even with insurance, I've noticed things are getting more expensive. I mean, that's out of our control here, I think, in the Zoom call. But maybe a deeper understanding of where people are coming from when they do get that sticker shock, which is maybe not special to Arabs or Arab Americans. Perhaps maybe that's a common thing that happens a lot.
yeah. I have a friend like he like his wife have to birth in a hospital, and then they don't have health insurance and they don't know what they do, but sometimes they send them like 7,000, 8,000 for that thing. It's very easy. In my home country, you can do it at home. Just ask some woman, she can do it, and that's gonna be free.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of systemic oppression, I think, in the healthcare system across peoples and everything else too, where this kind of thing happens. Just access to healthcare can be very confusing for immigrants, no matter where they come from.
Thank you. But people here, the good thing, when I go to hospital because my health is not good, and they have like a very nice people, very professional. A lot of people working in the system, health system here. It's very good, and I like it. They respect everybody. They have a translate like for everyone. You know what I mean? They take like care of people.
And that's not easy to do for Arabic because all the dialects are so different. So it's good to have, even a Yemeni dialect person speaker. I would like to add too to this that we have a lot of Arab students who come from Kuwait or other places, and they take our Arabic classes, to get an easy grade and that kind of thing. But a lot of them are very shy to work with women, and people misunderstand this as a lack of respect, when in fact it's the opposite. It is a sign of respect to be more quiet around women, to let them speak and this kind of thing. And I think people, because they anticipate this idea that Arab men don't like women, they see everything as some kind of offense, but it's really quite the opposite. And that's something I wish more people were aware of too, is that the sort of acting more demure and silent is in fact a form of respect.
Yeah, I still have that problem. If like I can't talk to women, like because we are very shy to talk to the women. You know what I mean? Like because it's very hard. Like I know my students, like because they can't talk like they when they came like from Arabic country, and I remember myself. I can't like sometimes I have to look to the now or sometime if it's not important, I just run away. It's because we're very shy to talk to the women because yeah, like that is in our culture. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
used to take offense to it. People would look down, talking to me, wouldn't look me in the eye. And in the United States, we want to look people in the eye, acknowledge my existence and that kind of thing. Um, but no, it's a sign of respect.
is kind of respect. Like in my home country, if you talk with the women in our culture, if you talk with the women, if it's not necessary, that's bad. You cannot go to the woman and say, "Hi, how are you? How's your day?" Why? That's not. That is it's bad in our culture. Just if you need something, go directly ask her that thing, and don't look to her like badly, or look at her eyes maybe. But now the time is changed. I don't know the new generation, but they still have like because we are almost separate. I know, like in high school, we have like a different school for boys and girls, but in a college we was together, but we don't talk like just maybe all when I study in a college, maybe I talk with a woman like with my college maybe 2 times, and we have a lot of like more than boys, but we very shy to talk to women.
Yeah, and maybe shy is not the best word to use because shy, I think, has negative connotation in English, but it's more respectfulness to safeguard other people's honor and everything else, which is looked at differently because we may have heard the term honor killings and that kind of stuff. This is not my intention here, but it is ultimately respectful. So I see somebody has their hand up. Stephanie, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, this is actually the question that I came to answer today, and it has to do with that. So I'm a lecturer in the College of Population Health, and I generally have a couple of Arab students every semester, and they are incredibly quiet. And I was wondering if there's a gender difference. Even the women are very quiet, and is that because I'm also a woman? Is that? Oh, I respect their, however they want to communicate with me and participate in class in the way that they want to. But as a woman teacher teaching Arab women, is that something that is also like just a quietness or a respect of a professor kind of situation? Because it's a discussion-based class, and I just want to understand better where they're coming from.
Sure. I have some ideas, but I'm going to refer first to Abdullah. I'm going to translate the question first, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
فلكي تتفهم بالضبط يعني هي أيضا مدرسة وهي تدرس أشياء عن الصحة ولكن الصف مثل صفنا يعني مبنيا على المناقشة. فلاحظت أن ليس فقط العرب ولكن العربيات أيضا النسوان يعني خجلانين كلهم. هل هذا لأنها مدرسة يعني امرأة أو كل العرب هكذا مع المدرسين؟
Yes, in Arabic, like sometime I'm just a lecturer, but they call me a doctor. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. Just call me Abdullah. But that's true, especially a women. Women have like they speak very like كيف أقول واطي صوتها.
Oh, like a very, very low voice. Even
Yes.
with the women.
And yeah, it's very hard to go to work like with like talk with the people, and they respect like they have to be like a teacher is like very important, and like we learn how to like we said the God parents teacher, that is what you have to respect.
Yeah, whether or not that actually happens is another story I'd like to add because it's hard to talk about a vast swath of people as if they all are going to react in a similar way. Because some of the most outspoken entitled students also that I've had have also been Arab, and they've said, no, you know us, we respect teachers, so I can act however I want to then, is sort of the understanding that they seem to have. So, and this isn't just Arabs, by the way, this is, I think, everybody, but so I wanted to be clear about that too. But yeah, I think it is a factor that depending on where people grew up and where they went to school, the sort of Socratic discussion method is not used, generally speaking, in the Middle East. Very sage on the stage, lecture style, as opposed to guide on the side. And so it's a different way of learning and understanding. It's still very much rote memorization in the Middle East, still very much this idea of plagiarism is not only acceptable, but laudable because it means you've done your homework and you're copying from something else that you've seen. And so this idea of plagiarism sometimes can be very difficult to work with. And similar to like, I think Eastern Europe and Asian countries as well. Like, why would I cite my source? You should know that I'm citing the source because you're the teacher. Like everybody should know what the source is automatically, this kind of idea. And so this can be difficult, I think, to teach people that you can't just copy and paste from somebody else here. Yeah, go ahead, Abdullah.
And we have a different, like, I have like some Arab, like, but they're born in America. They are like American. They just they wear a hijab, but they are say allow it. You know what I mean? They are like American. But people come like international student is different, or people come like I had some student refugees come from Syria like maybe 5 years ago. They still shy. They can't talk like a man cannot talk with a woman. And women when they talking like she like same thing when girls talk to me like her head is down, and you know what I mean. She talk. I said, "Say it again. I can't hear you." You know what I mean? Yeah, they.
It's been the same with me as well, incidentally, too, even though I'm also a woman, because there's men in the classroom as well. So, again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's seen as a form of respect towards others and not as a form of disrespect or like that negativity towards shyness, like they can't or that kind of thing, just a different attitude. And also, frankly, it could be a language barrier because I've coached a lot of Arab students who come too, who struggle in other classes because their English perhaps is not up to par. And so or they see their English as not being up to par. And so there could be some language barrier there too that happens.
Yeah, the other thing is like check hand is depend. Like we have like some people in Arabic countries not check hand man and woman, but some do.
Yeah, so to encourage discussion, I would call on people specifically and make space to allow them to speak, which I know sometimes some discussion, it's hard to do that in class because you want people to organically speak up, but some people might need more encouragement. So they feel then safe in that it's acceptable to do so in the class. Because sometimes people do see discussion or challenging a teacher's viewpoint or what they see as a teacher's viewpoint as being very disrespectful. So sometimes not speaking up is indicative more of not knowing what the teacher's idea is because they just want to parrot what you think. Because again, this is a culturally educational difference. I hope that answers your question.
This is very helpful. Is there other things that I should be aware of just besides the deference and the quietness?
I think no, just tell them if you have anything like please let me know. You know, if you have anything in your culture or in your religions, you know what I mean? Because yeah, some people they don't understand like because like if it's holiday or Muslim holidays or that stuff they have like I know like because but then it's okay like that they have to tell you but they don't like to tell any times they just absent or you know what I mean and they tell later. I said you should tell me before or but
Yeah, there's an assumption that we all know
maybe
every holiday.
maybe
That kind of
she has
thing.
experience because she lived in a long time in Arabic countries. You can answer this, Heather.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think basically that. I'm trying to think of like examples in my own class because even though I teach Arabic, it doesn't mean I don't have, moments of miscommunication or misunderstanding. And so I think it's a good point. Yeah, make sure that just keep open communication and keep trying to communicate. Let people know what is expected, like managing expectations, I think is really important. And just letting people know that they have their own, it's okay to express your own ideas and your own thoughts, not just what is in the textbook. And another thing too, I was going to say, before I think flew out of my mind. Oh yeah, when it comes specifically to public health, there could be some shyness surrounding this too, because I could not get a pap smear to save my life anywhere I've lived in the Middle East. Like this idea of preventive feminine health care, even tampons, they don't, it's hard to come by in certain countries because of ideas of what a woman's body is and how it reacts to products and, medical procedures like a pap smear. And so there might be a lot of shyness surrounding this and the body and that kind of thing. And it's intended only to be spoken of with a doctor of the same gender. And so there could be, I'm not sure what your class exactly gets into, but,
I have a guest speaker who's the title of her lecture is the sex education you never got in high school. It's very comprehensive, but actually a lot of people have not had, like non-judgmental, open conversations about sexual health. So sure. I don't know if it's more so an issue with Middle Eastern Arab students, or it's just like can just be in lots of different communities and cultures.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, I think that's like especially for a woman, like maybe it's a woman by itself and women teach them that's okay. Boys by themselves and a man teach that class is okay. But it's embarrassing like that's like كيف أقول يعني شيء محرج. It's very embarrassing. Like you cannot have a woman and in a class and somebody teach and he's a man and or a man in a class. That's very embarrassing for like That's
Having said that, I think that we talk about cultural competence a lot, but I think intercultural competence is what we need to use, because I think cultural competence doesn't mean that I, capitulate to every people's, need in another culture. If you're here too, there has to be this sort of a two-way street that we need to open. And sometimes this is a two-way street that we really need to facilitate, in the sense that you are here in America and we understand that where you come from. This might be a very embarrassing conversation. It's a very embarrassing thing for people in America too, but this is a part of health, and health means you're in a health class. And so, to open up this street a little bit too, and open up this understanding. I had this conversation with somebody about breastfeeding, and I said, you can't just whip up a boob, because what about other people who find this offensive? And they're like, too bad for them. It's a boob. This baby needs to eat. They need to get over it. And I'm protected by law. And so, I mean, if there's maybe a more culturally competent way to express this feeling or this thought, but I think the idea of, again, intercultural competence is to open up people to, different laws and different ways of seeing the world. They can do whatever they want to then at home, but to be a part of a classroom means to open up dialogue in a way that's respectful, but not in a way that you can opt out.
I know, but الآن ممكن نجعلهم يشوفوا فيديو لأنه عندنا في العربي.
He's just saying, maybe have them watch a video at home or something to prepare them.
He can watch it or answer a question, or to make sure everybody watch that, كيف نعمل الامتحانات عن
for exams or something like this.
Yeah.
Different ways to offer information if people just can't handle it and their heads explode or whatever.
In Arabic countries, we're still very bad. I know in America, you take a lot of step in this stuff in the school. We don't have anything in our country, that stuff. Just maybe dad have to teach his son and mom teach her daughters.
Most people don't teach anything, but as you mentioned, sex ed is not really taught properly anywhere, I think. Anyways, we only have about 5 minutes left. I want to be respectful of people's time. I could talk about sex ed all day and the issues worldwide, but does anybody have any other questions about, I don't know, Arab Americans here at UNM or anything else?
I just have one question I want to make sure that I can always ask you after the talk too, but if anyone else has a question, I open the floor. Here you go. There's one in the chat.
Would you suggest to anyone without previous experience also take your Arabic intensive class? Yes, absolutely. In fact, our first class, I'll just type what it is here in chat, is meant for people who have no Arab experience or experience with Arabic at all, and don't know where the Middle East is, or have zero experience. And that's what the class is meant for, but UNM, we can't restrict people from taking it even if they're fluent. Why you would take a class on ABC if you're fluent in English, for instance, I'm not sure, but maybe that's how people ease into life here in America. So I highly recommend taking our classes, not just because I teach them or whatever else, or because I've made Arabic my life work, but just because I think that UNM does a very good job of teaching languages, at least in our department. And other places I've been, I could have been teaching Swahili, nobody would have noticed. But here people do follow up and care. Amy, go ahead, and then I'll get to the question here in the chat in a second.
Oh, yeah. This hopefully will be a quick, easy one. But thank you so much. This has just been really great. Hello, thank you. So you mentioned earlier about finding community has been hard, or making friends here. And I wonder about our students and other colleagues like yourself. Are there other affinity groups or student orgs or places where if we're talking to a student and they're feeling lonely, or they haven't been able to make friends, whether of their own culture or others, do you have any recommendations, or where you've seen Arab students or colleagues actually find community, and how could we help support that?
How do you start?
Yeah, so هل فهمت السؤال؟
شوية ممكن
Okay, I'll translate the question here. يعني هناك ناس يشعرون بوحدة مثلك، خاصة العرب. يعني هل عندك أي نصائح لهم لكي نبني مجتمع هنا? So we do have an Arabic club that's very sparsely attended, to be honest. I know there's the Muslim Student Association. Not to say that all Arabs are Muslim, of course, but the participation in this sort of waxes and wanes as time goes on. But I would definitely point people to the LLC. I'm just going to put that in chat here, and it's llc.unm. It's the Language Learning Center, and they have all languages there. So not just for Arabs, but for other people as well, coming from other cultures. One of the biggest points of loneliness is when you can't find that expat community to speak your own language with. And so this could be a place where we could connect people with groups, with Arabic Conversation Circle, with other things too. And this is a way that we can connect. I think, yeah, but it depends on the year because a lot of these, again, organizations wax and wane depending on student interest. And student interest across the board has waned in everything right now. But that doesn't mean, possibly because people do feel so lonely and isolated and everything is so siloed here. That's the LLC is a good place to start breaking down barriers.
And yeah, for like we have like for a Muslim, they have a mosque and they have some activity there. And a Shia Muslim, they have Husseiniya there. And I recommend just restaurant, something, how to find a friends, but I still have that problem. I don't know how to I don't know how كيف أقول لا أعرف كيف أنصح وأنا عندي هذه المشكلة.
Oh, he said it's hard for me to give advice when I have the same problem. So we've said here, like, how have you both encountered the concept of whiteness in conjunction with Arab American spaces? So how have U.S. racial concepts influenced Arab culture? So this is an important question for me because I am a white woman teaching Arabic, and who am I to tell some Kuwaiti that their language isn't good enough here or something like this? There's a power imbalance here on many levels that can be difficult to untangle. So there's been a cheering of people, there's been a real push to get Arabs included in the census, for instance, and people are cheering this because people do get discriminated against because of the way that they look. And there's been Islamophobia here in a history of this. And so this is a big problem, especially post 9/11. And this was particularly a problem in the US military, which is people talk about this. And I got out of the service 20 years ago, so perhaps it's different now, but Islamophobia was encouraged. And so what do you do with an organization like this? What do you do with a land like this? What do you do with a place like this that doesn't fully engage with these kinds of questions, especially in this culture we live in now, in which DEI has become a word you can't even use in some states. And so I think that this idea, I could talk about this all day long too, but I'll try as brief as I can. The Western concept of the nation state has done irreparable damage to the Middle East, a place that was multicultural, multilingual, multi-religious, multi-everything for centuries until World War II and World War I, these other issues came along, colonialism and nation state colonialism that impacted the Middle East drastically. And I'm not just talking about the creation of the state of Israel, which everybody likes to focus on, but we had the Italians in Ethiopia and Libya, and you had the Brits in the Oman and the Gulf, and the Portuguese and in Yemen, and so on and so forth. And the issue with Algeria and France. And so defining another people's and putting them these artificial borders up has done all kinds of damage. And I don't know if there's any way out of this now. And who am I to tell people what to do too? I mean, that's how people got in this problem in the first place. So I think this has been an issue.
Thank you. Can I add something? Because
Please.
sorry, I have to go, but I want to mention something now. All Arabic American now, like I see in Albuquerque, they are very scared. Some people like they have a citizen, but they are scared to travel and come back to America. Especially a lot of refugees, they already have a green card, but because everybody now, like some people said, oh, go have a new phone, don't go to any social media, don't have any talk with anybody in groups. Especially if you have a word like Palestine or Gaza or anything, you're gonna be in trouble. Maybe they're gonna take like your green card, they're gonna cancel it, they're gonna like. And my student too, I have students from like Kuwait, from Saudi Arabia, from Yemen, from Egypt, Palestine, Syria, like everybody scared now. A lot of people like very scared because they had a news. Some people they canceled their visa. Some people like, especially it's like okay, if you have like maybe in a Facebook, a lot of people they don't talk about that in social media. But sometime if I have a group like here we like a WhatsApp so much. Like Arabic WhatsApp is very important. Like for us, like I talk to everybody with WhatsApp, but if you have like, and we have a lot of group like Albuquerque Muslims or Yemenis in Albuquerque, Yemen, and you can find anybody have like like his political idea about what happened in Gaza or about war, about something, people said, please get me out of this group. I don't like any trouble. I said, it's okay, man. This is not a trouble. He said, no, I am scared. That is, I think, the big problems now with Arab American is like they don't feel safe. You know what I mean? Like especially when they travel or something. Thank you so much.
He's lived in Egypt and studied the Egyptian dialect. That's lovely. Would love to talk more. And if anybody has, I'm going to be respectful of people's time here. I'm just going to put my email and chat here, and then Abdullah's as well.
Yeah, thank you. And I teach with Heather like same classes. Like sometime I teach 3 credit, she teach 3 credit because our classes, a lot of them is like 6 hour every week. Like
Yeah, we
Arabic
teach
1,
an
Arabic
intensive
2.
6 credit class, so we co-teach, so we teach every other day.
Wow.
To make sure people don't just get hooked on one accent, basically. So, but yeah, if anybody has any follow-up questions, I know we kind of ran out of time here a little bit, but we're so happy to connect people. And if you have students who are, lonely or whatever else, because we did have a lot of students, we asked people, hey, do you want to speak for Arab American Month? And they all said no. And I think it's because of this fear going on right now. So if you want us, if we can be of any service to anybody, please reach out.
Well, thank you so much. And I think definitely this loneliness feeling, I feel like is something our office absolutely should focus on if we can we'll put our heads together and reach out.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Pearl. I see everybody in the
Thank you,
chat.
guys.
Super.
Thanks everyone for
Happy
being
class.
here.